Carman and Paul Ahnert.
And we are live. What's up, brother? How you doing?
Pretty good. Messaging Paul. He's having technical difficulties.
Okay, so we do have a special guest lined up today, Paul Jackson of Bloodgood, and apparently he's got some technical difficulties going on at his end. So as soon as he comes in, we'll bring him on. And if not, we'll have a great conversation ourselves as usual.
I'm going to go shut off my dehumidifier. It's making too much noise.
All right. Sounds good. So we do our first segment. First part of the segment, we do a couple of CDs, 3 CDs that we really are listening to right now. And so today, I'm going to promo Rose because actually next week, if Lord willing, we're going to have Randy Rose and his solo career and Mad at the World, where he's going to be our special guest next Sunday night. So we're really looking forward to that. It's kind of good, hard, rocky, a little doomy, and just really good stuff. Good lyrics. And then this just dropped. This one came out like 2 days ago. And if you're a fan of Leonard Skinner or 38 Special, this is Johnny and Donnie Van Zant. And they've done a gospel album. It's Southern rock, somewhere between country and Southern rock gospel. And the last song on this, Jesus Christ, is phenomenal. I really encourage you to check this out, get a copy of it, and take a listen. And then this one, I get a little criticism for sometimes. This is Tommy Johansson, used to go by the name of Rain Zed. The band now is called Majestica. I get a little criticism. The people, that's not Christian. It's fantasy stuff. Well, Tommy Johansson is a believer, strong believer. He's played in Divine Fire. He's played Majestic Vanguard, and it's on Revel Records. If you know, Revel Records is Christian Lilligren from Narnia's record label, and just good stuff. Nothing on it that would be dishonorable to God, and just really epic, big, grand, orchestral metal and power metal from Sweden. So if you like that kind of music, definitely check out Rain Zed, Majestica, or anything with Tommy Johansson involved. So what do you got today, my man?
Well, I wanted to do this when Paul was seeing it, but he wasn't in the band with this album, but this is a good album from Bloodgood. It's Legends Remastered. So they've got a lot of the songs that are on their live DVD, like Shaking It, Never Be the Same, Heaven on Earth, She's Gone. So a lot of my favorite songs on there. And then I haven't listened to this a lot, but I'm breaking it out this week. The Brave.
Oh, yes.
Yep. From what I remember, there's got some pretty cool rock and roll tunes on that. And then tomorrow, I think I'm going to watch this again.
Which one is that?
If you're a fan of Bride, this is from their Immortal Fest. And it's a live thing that I'm pretty sure Troy did all the editing. So it was cool because, oh, man, it's in my player. I was going to show you the autograph in it, but it's not there.
Oh, it's not in there.
But if you're a Bride fan, that's the one to get because it was their first concert in, 16 years? Something like that?
I think we've got Paul. I'm going to bring him in.
All right.
Hey, Paul, welcome.
Hey, Paul. Uh-oh.
No audio. We can't hear you.
Yeah, we did all this before too.
Yeah, you wouldn't believe the fun we had trying to figure this stuff out in the beginning.
No. My cat's trying to play drums.
No. Let me see. Your mic's not muted, so it's not on our end.
Is that better?
Yep.
Oh, there we go. We got you.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey guys,
All right,
sorry
well,
about that was
no,
really
we're glad to have you. Bryan, you want to do an introduction?
Hey, everybody. Really excited about tonight, and I told my girlfriend Leah that I wouldn't be a fanboy tonight, so Paul, I'm trying.
okay. That's great.
But this is Paul Jackson, and I only know of you from Bloodgood and from Les Carlson. So you're the guitar player for those two bands. And I got to see you at what's called the Mortal Fest now, but it was Bloodgood's last concert, and White Cross was there.
Yeah. It's strange because that venue is such a great venue. I think we're going on our fourth time playing there because we played with the Newsboys last year.
Okay.
Strange place, mixed emotions because I go in there and there's a lot of memories, and it was tough losing Kevin. And then
Yep.
Michael not too far after that because we did a little tribute to Kevin.
Yes, it was really good.
Yeah, and then wow, I just never would have thought Michael would follow him not too much farther after that. So,
Isn't Les older than Michael?
he is.
So not to be mean or anything, but I thought if you go by age.
Yeah. I mean, chronologically, that would make a lot of sense.
Yep.
It's Michael is just one of those guys that he's probably going to look 50 forever. So
Yep.
It was really a trying time for us and trying to figure out what was going to go on. What the heck we were going to do.
Yeah.
I'm pleased to see Les, doing what he's doing because he's got a ton of energy. I mean, that guy's got decades of energy left. He's got way more than I do. And then getting Joyce involved, that's a real blessing, to get your wife to where you can do what you love. And then, she's been a really great, as my wife is too, because my wife Faith is a fantastic singer. I mean, she's the real talent in the family. And, these guys, when it comes to the Lord, they just take a back seat and go, I'm going to serve you, and you have an opportunity to serve him. And so we're going to support. And most people wouldn't know that the talent is there. Joyce is a tremendous singer. And this has been kind of a fun thing for me because I got to kind of sit back a little bit. And then I just told Les, whatever you need from me, let me know and I'll be there. And Craig Church, super great guitar player. I just, where Craig's always been so humble to be in the background and support me on some different things. I really love that he has an opportunity to do what he does, show what he has. And I'm happy to just take a back seat and just say, hey, if something needs something, you want something from me, I'm in. And there's been a few things that Les sends me and asks me what I would do. And I literally said nothing. It's great. I mean, guitar solo that Craig did's killer, song's awesome. So it's been really, really good for me to just kind of be somewhat of an innocent bystander. I don't know how innocent, but a bystander.
I talked to Craig Church at that concert, and I was like, dude, you're always in the background and like nobody really pays attention to you, but I'm like, you're a good guitar player. I said, and you're in Bloodgood. Isn't that cool?
Yeah. And, he's been really, like I said, from my first experience with Craig was Rock Theater. And we really wanted it to be big. So we wanted to not lose anything because typically Bloodgood's a 4-piece Van Halen style deal. And you do lose a little bit, if you listen to Van Halen, a lot of their songs has a rhythm guitar in the background. So it doesn't drop out.
Yep.
And then live, they do their thing. But the Rock Theater thing, we really wanted it to be full. And so Craig came in the picture. I got to know him. Again, like you said, total background and humble guy. And
Yep.
And then, but then Michael's kept a relationship with him for a long time. And so when Michael did his Michael Bloodgood and Friends CD that he did, Craig was huge in that. Craig played, I think, guitar. I think he did it at Craig's studio. And so when we were working with Oz, you got Oz Fox. So what do you do, right? I mean, that guy's he's something else.
Yep.
Happy to have him for a friend. But when Stryper started really sinking their teeth back into what they were doing, we needed to get something going. And Craig's the perfect person, And again, there's songs that David played the solo on. We're bringing back some old songs.
Oh, David Savaro?
Yeah.
Yep.
And so he played the solo on these songs. So we're kind of looking at each other going, well, do you want to do it? No. Well, you don't want to do it? I'll do it. No, you do it, So
hey, Paul, could you tell people a short story about how you actually became the guitar player for Bloodgood? Because I know that there's a story to that, and I know it's in the documentary, but can you give a short little thing of how that happened?
Yeah, it's funny because the documentary, I must have gotten long-winded or something because they cut it out. Some of the, I thought, important part. But I've been playing music around Seattle I started really young. I started playing shows at like high school dances when I was 12 and just kept playing and playing. And then by the time I was 18, I started playing the Seattle music circuit around here. And Mike and Les wound up, while they were doing Bloodgood, they needed to make money. So they went to work for a guy that was our manager, and they would set up our gear. So Mike and Les were our sound and lighting guys and also water servers. And it was just pretty funny because they'll never live that down, They used to bring me a pitcher of ice water, set my cup out. Hey, how's this? That's great. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't say that. But I got, it's very, yeah, exactly. Lukewarm, fellers. No. But I got to know him, and like Les talks in the documentary on how Don Garberg kind of had that aura about him that he was drawn to. I was very drawn to Mike and Les. So I was the guy in the band that we had of 5 people that was like, what are you guys doing? Hey, what's going on? And I would hang out with Mike and Les and kind of strike a relationship. And then one time we were playing a show east of the mountains here in Washington. And Les said, hey, we're going to put this band together. He told me all about it. And he goes, do you want to fiddle around with some music and write something? And so we sat there in a Holiday Inn in Yakima, Washington, and did Demon on the Run, which I thought was really fun. But I really thought, I'll never hear this ever on a, recording. It's not going to go anywhere. And so in the process, they were putting it together. They had David. And then I continued doing my own thing. That band I was in there broke up, and then I started just doing studio work. And then I ran into a guy that was working with me that said, hey, I think you'd be a great guy to be your own artist. I can promote you. I'll be your producer. And in the midst of that, this guy worked with Steve Miller. And so it was pretty cool. He had a little bit of credit. And then Steve Miller decided he was going to go back on tour after not being out for forever. I think the last time he was on tour was like Abracadabra, that record. And they needed a guitar player to support him. And so I was like, I'll do it. I don't care what I have to do. I'll play whatever funky little background part just to kind of get in the industry and endorsements and whatever. I just wanted to get into the mainstream. And so I, sent an audition tape into Herbie Herbert, which is his manager, Starship, Journey, Santana. He managed all those guys, and he was sweet enough, pat my own back, to say that he thought I was up there with all the guitar players he worked with, and wanted to. And Neil Sean's one of my favorites, so that was a huge compliment for me. And he goes, you got the gig, so we're going to get you set up. And at the time, in-ear monitors were pretty new. So they had to set up a ENT appointment for me so I could get fitted for the monitors. And then we talked about money, and it was a lot of money. I mean, for me, I was supposed to do 3 months in the US and 3 months in Europe. And just the 3 months in the US, I could have paid for my house I was living in. And so I was just absolutely, this is it. I got the break, you know? And then they just said, we're going to start rehearsing next week, but Steve's got a show. It's a benefit in San Francisco Bay Area. And it's going to be him, Jefferson Starship, or I think they were just Starship at the time, built this city. I don't know what era that was for them. And then it was, I think, Journey, and then the Tubes, which you have to look that up unless you're my age. You wouldn't know who the Tubes are. But so that sounds awesome, right? Except the guitar player that was playing with the Tubes was his guitar player on the Abracadabra tour from years before, came up to him and said, Steve, I'm falling on hard times. I think his name's Kenny Lewis or Kenny Lee Lewis. Do you have anything for me? I'll do whatever. I'll guitar tech. I need a job. I'm hurting. And he goes, oh, you know what? I got this rhythm guitar spot. And I'm out, and this guy's in. So I get I get the phone call, and I mean, I was like, oh, I usually don't get that down, but you know, that was just a kick right in the gut. And I was like, everything's gone. I mean, everything that we talked about was gone. Now I'm back to just doing local studio gigs and whatever. And then, you know, I was just going, God, you know, what's going on? I thought that was obvious. I was supposed to do this, you know, and he had other things in mind, because Les called me like a day or two later and says, hey, we're doing a record. David's leaving the band. Would you like to come do the record? And so it was how God works. You know what I mean? It's like, and was it higher profile? Was it more money? All that stuff, the Steve Miller thing. Yes. Would I have turned out to be a better person? Would I have met my wife? Would I have my kids?
Right.
I mean, it's a tough world when you get there in the mainstream and you're out. I don't know where I would have wound up. So probably not talking to you guys, and that would suck.
Yeah, for sure. So what year was that?
That would have been 88, 89.
Okay, didn't they say in the rockumentary that they never officially asked you to be in the band? Elaborate on that.
It was just funny because they were I was asking them what's going on. He goes, well, we're going to do this record. You know, would you mind writing? Because we wrote a song on each one of the records up until that point. Les and I did Demon on the Run. Then we did, what did we do? Crucify, and then Seven. And so we'd already had experience. We kind of knew how each other worked. So he was like, well, you're a pretty good choice to write with, so we can get together and write. So we, you know, that was kind of the arrangement. I was going to write, rehearse, do the record, and then go back to what I was doing, you know. And then in the process of doing the record, Cornerstone called, I believe it was right in that time, and said, hey, you know, we got this show. They already had played Cornerstone before. They said, can you guys do it? And then they said, hey, Paul, can you do this Cornerstone show? And we're going to get a guy named Jeff Sheets to come in.
Oh, I know that name.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so you won't be totally out on your own, because we got Jeff coming in. And so, you know, we'll kind of work things out. And then it turned out that Jeff, I think, only played on Black Snake, maybe one song or something like that. And then so we went out, did the show, loved it. I loved the vibe, because that was my first concert with Bloodgood, or my first concert in Christian music. And there was like 7,000 people there, and they're all praising God. And I was like, wow, this is a really cool way to do what I love. Yep. And just get this amazing energy, you know. And I'd already been through my cancer diagnosis and all that. And so I was, you know, connected to the mothership at that point. I felt that, you know, I don't think I was pardoned to play mainstream with Steve Miller. I think I was pardoned to be part of this industry that means obviously a lot more. No offense, Steve Miller, 'cause I'm sure he makes tons of money, but anyway, so after we did that show, we got called to do a show in Sweden. And so now, can you do the Sweden show? Is that cool? And I'm like, oh yeah, I mean, that sounds fun, you know? So that show had about 14,000 people there. And so it was like, you know, so I did that show, this show, and then they're like, hey, well, we got this, we got that. All of a sudden now I'm on the show. So we always joked around just because it went from, you know, write with us, do a record, hey, we got a couple gigs, to we just didn't ever officially say anything. I just
like the annoying little brother that kept tagging along.
Yeah, you know, like, or it's like it's not broke, don't fix it kind of a thing, you know?
Yep.
And
that's funny.
And, you know, we're just so close. And I just kept being closer and closer with Mike and Les that by the time we got to all stand together, I mean, it was like just a trio, three-headed monster deal. And it was fun for me because I got to meet a bunch of different drummers. That's kind of an inside joke. But yeah, it was really, we never really kept a drummer for very long, you know?
True. Yeah.
But we had two of them in and out a couple times.
None of them blew up or anything, right?
No, they might have gotten mad, smoldered. No, they were good. But yeah, so it's been a really awesome ride. You know, I look back and it just was something that was meant to happen for me. And the relationships, I mean, they just go so far beyond the music. And,
right.
You know, there was a lot of things going around Christian music, especially in the early 90s, late 80s, you know, and even South Park, I think, spoofed it, where it's like, hey, let's just do music. It sounds like we're singing to girls, but we're singing to God. And so we get this. And it was a hilarious episode, really. But they were spoofing Christian rock bands, you know.
Yep.
So there was a lot of that going on. A lot of people trying to uncover, you know, are these guys just using Christ as a gimmick, you know, to get their leg into an industry where people are obviously very receptive, you know, people, you know, it's great. And Bloodgood, I will tell you, has never, ever been that way. I mean, when we were doing our absolute best, as far as if you would look at a success level, is right about when it was like, you know, it just isn't feeling right. You know, it's feeling like we're going ahead of what God's plan is. We're doing our plan because it seemed logical. We even, you know, we got offers to move to Europe. Come to Europe. You know, you have such a strong fan base here. We have record labels here, so we just come here. It just, all of it just felt wrong. It just didn't. It wasn't that it would have been a bad thing, because we love Europe and it's a great place. But it was us going, let's go seek our success somewhere.
Right.
And in Bloodgood, I'm telling you guys, it's not that way. Opportunities to get bigger, popular, do whatever were never, ever in the forefront of that band. You know, and it wasn't my fault, because I was like, yeah, let's go. I know I would love to see it be bigger, you know, but I was like, you said, I was like the annoying little brother going, get your mind back into what we're doing here. You know, it's not about, you know, the big stuff, but yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And, you know, with the exception of losing Michael, you know, there's nothing I would see, nothing I'd want to see over again. You know, I think we did it the right way.
Yeah, I think that Bloodgood did an awesome job keeping the message number one.
Oh yeah, the lyric content, superb. You know, very theological, very Christ-centric, which is something that I think some of the bands struggled with, especially in that time frame what you're talking about, when they were trying to get more big and maybe water the message down a little bit. And we were all in the same place together at that last show without knowing each other at the time, I think. And so that was really an awesome thing to be able to see that show of all the shows. And I got my shirt while I was there, and
I love it.
And props to you, man. Congratulations, the 100th top 100 Christian guitarists dropped today. I saw, and you made way nice spot in 35. Maybe I would have put you a little higher, but a little closer to number 1. But 35, that's not too shabby on the top 100. So,
no, it's flattering to be mentioned at all, to be honest with you guys. And we kind of fell out of, off the map for a while. As a band, we really aren't huge self-promoters either. I mean, if you look at any of my social media, you'll see more posts about, my kids or golf or something like that. But yeah, no, it's anytime something like that comes out, it's great. I just wanted to be higher than Zafiro. That's sad.
So what was the time gap between the last album you guys did and the one previously? Like 10 years almost?
Oh, it was, let's see.
Was it 1991 was your All Stand Together?
And then we didn't do another one until 2013.
Yep.
So
yeah. So what was that like, getting back together like that after so long?
Like an old shoe, you know, especially since Oz was part of the picture, and we're talking about like fanboy stuff. I mean, I got Against the Law for a Christmas present, I'm like, I got to get this record. And when I came to California to start doing some pre-production work and doing a photo shoot and stuff, it's like, here we all are, Oz, Paul, and we already obviously knew each other through just music, but never talked before. And they're like, well, let's shoot over to the studio and do some rehearsing. We're going to take a few cars. Who wants to ride with Oz? Me. I just wanted to spend time with him. He's just such an awesome guy. I just wanted to just be around him, tell him how much I appreciated him. Oz is just so laid back and cool. He's like, hey man, really? Hey, cool. Right. Cool, man. Not a big deal. And I'm like, it is for me. This is awesome. I thought that added a real cool punch to that, coming back together again. You put Oz in the mix,
Oh yeah.
And so I just gravitated to him, and we just connected immediately, and for the next shows that we were doing, we roomed together, and and the only thing is, I'm not a practicer. I don't really sit around and play the guitar unless there's a show or a song to record or something. You
sound just like me, and I started to feel guilty about it. I've got strings I still have to change, and I haven't done it yet. So I'm like,
yeah.
I wanted to mention something to you. When I was at that Immortal Fest place, the BMI Center. Do you remember Michael Fian coming up to you, and he's all sweaty? He just finished his second set, and he gave you one of these and said, "Would you sign it for my friend?"
Oh yeah,
because Michael Fian was on this album.
Oh, right on.
He did the song called 3 Days Later. It's on the back.
Was he singing, playing drums, or both?
Huh?
Was he singing on it too?
He just did drums.
Did drums.
Because Dale Thompson's our vocalist.
Right.
Yep. So that was cool that you guys did this and got Michael's on there too, and Les Carlson. So
that was fun. Yeah, I don't think I ever heard the finished product from Dale.
No.
So that was here.
If you go to YouTube and go to We Are Resolute Topic, all three albums are up there.
Perfect. That's awesome. So cool.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. So talk about the fanboy thing. If I were going to do something with you, they'd say, "Who wants to go in the car with Paul?" I'd be like,
"Oh, nice." All right.
I know it's funny you said that, because I'm feeling like this is fanboy for us getting to talk to you. So.
Oh, geez. Oh, you guys, that's awesome. I appreciate it. Really love the invitation to come on with you guys and talk, for a while, and it's really, it's good for the soul.
Now, you said Rock Theater. That's those 2 DVDs, right?
Yeah.
Because I told you when I met you, because you let me get an extra picture with you and you gave me a pic with your name on it, and actually used that pic on CD number 3, Fallen Angel. So that pic was magically made with Paul Jackson's pic.
All right.
But some of my guitar playing style is thanks to you from watching those the DVDs over and over. Because I'm self-taught and I can't really do a lot of those scales that people do. I'm getting a little better at stuff. But if you hear anything that I do fast, I do that picking that you did.
Oh, nice.
I'm like, it's kind of cheating, but who cares? It sounds awesome.
You know, if you can do it easier, that's a good choice.
Yep. So it's just one of the little things. It's like, I guess as I was learning, I learned one thing here, one thing there, and then all of a sudden, like, God made me put it in a song, and it's like 3 or 4 things in one. I'm like, sweet.
Yeah, that's great. I've just, you know, I don't think this made the, no, I don't think it was on the movie part, but have you guys heard the underwear story for Lamb of God?
No.
No, but do tell.
It sounds
Like to hear it now.
Calvin Klein. No, I'm just kidding.
Back to the Future.
So, I'm putting the music together for Lamb of God, and the whole song was based around me wanting to give Michael a feature. So that song started with me writing the bass part that's in the middle section, if you guys have heard the song.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how it started. So I wrote that.
I love that.
And I went, I got to write something around this, but I don't care what happens. I want Michael to have that section because he's Michael Bloodgood, right? And
exactly.
You know, so then I came up with the music around it, and then I went to the solo section. And at this point, my wife's like waiting to start a movie in the living room, and I'm in the office area. And I said, I got to put something down, for the section to hold it. So when I give Les the music, he'll have an idea what to write around it. So I played the solo and liked it, but I didn't like the execution, but I liked the concept of it. And then I do it again. And then I hear my wife yell from the other room, how much longer? How many times are you going to do that? Because I'd already told her I'll be there in like 30 minutes, and now it's 2 hours. And so I just sat there and zoned and I played the solo. And then I got done and she went, that sounds good. And I went, yeah, I think I like that one. So left it right there, sent it to Les. Les, it's doing his thing. We go to the studio and I was trying to do it with the same enthusiasm. I couldn't do it, and so I tried again and it sounds close, but it's not that good, and they're like, oh, what's the difference between that? And I go, well, I was in the dark in my underwear. And they're like, well, we're not going to do that. And then we realized that, luckily I tuned correctly and played at the same speed that we recorded the song. So the solo on Lamb of God is the one I did in my underwear in that room. Isn't that hilarious? And now I know you're going to hear it again. You're going to really picture it different.
Yeah, thanks.
I apologize for wrecking it. But isn't that funny? It was just that one thing. It just was like zoned in and just came off. I couldn't reproduce it. I can do it very close. I mean, if you hear it live, you're like, oh yeah, that's it. But there was just a certain attack or something that was going on. Maybe it was my wife stressing me out and I had to just hurry up. But yeah, so long story short, that no wonder it didn't make the movie, because that probably would really throw people off. They're like, this weird
about underwear.
Yeah. Guitar solo endorsed by Fruit of the Loom. But,
Paul, I know what you mean about like you're in a zone or something, because for our first song that Dale ever did a voice on, which blew our mind, is a song called Your Enemy on our first album, Shine the Light. It's a short song, and I technically don't have a guitar solo section, but it kind of ends with me just wailing away. I've never been I've tried to reproduce it, do it again. I can't. There was just something going on with all the fingers, and the pick was just flying. Like my elbow was really loose, and sometimes it gets really tight. I don't know. So when you said that one section, I was like, yeah, I understand that.
It makes sense.
Recreate it.
Yeah, it's weird because you wouldn't think that there were like it was that like specific that you have to do the right thing with the right, motor function, the thought pattern or zone. I guess I just call it zoning out because I was sitting there and it could have been 15 minutes that went by, but it's probably 2 hours. Just get zoned in there, and it was very similar. And that solo is fairly similar to the Out of the Darkness solo, which kind of it has kind of the same 4-note per string picking pattern. And I remember doing that and kind of being done. That was the first song I did with Bloodgood for the Out of the Darkness record. Is we started with that song to do solos with, and I just kind of played it and I went, how's that? Is that good? Yeah, we love it. And okay, cool. But
Yeah, I think that was my first Bloodgood album. I came kind of late to the game, early 90s.
I think it was a perfect
music.
Perfect time.
And that was, I think, right where I got it. And I was like, how did I never hear these guys before? I was just transitioning out of all the secular music into the Christian metal. And I was like, how did I never know that these guys ever existed? It was just like, it blew me away.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing because I feel like nowadays, especially because Nashville's like kind of considered a Christian area, or has been for, I don't want to say now it is, it's been that way for like 20, 30 years. But it just seems like there's not as much opposition. I mean, people, the world, if you were to like, the most offensive thing that you could probably put on social media if you want people to hate you is I'm a Christian Republican. And then you can just sit back and let it all come to you. But it doesn't seem to have the same musical opposition it did before. I think maybe it's because you can put satanic stuff out or dress like the devil and go on TV and do whatever. Maybe it's such a free for all. But back when I was with Bloodgood, it really was a strange vibe, and they'd been through it for a few years already. But man, you just didn't really have a country. I mean, people were not really receptive to accepting it and putting it on the radio from a mainstream point of view. And then the Christian point of view, it was the sacred Bible Belt mentality of, I don't think Christian people should do music that's got this aggression in it, just doesn't feel right. And so it's weird how you look and see that right now you could do it and people will they'll dismiss it or whatever, but it doesn't have the same passion that they're like, we don't want this to infiltrate our radio station.
Hey, real quick, Paul.
Yeah.
I just, Leah told me in a private message that the subtitles are all of a sudden covering Paul's face. Is there any way to shut those off or something?
Subtitles.
Well, there's
I don't have any subtitles.
Are they here?
Or is that just on each person?
It might be on hers because I'm looking at my YouTube now. I mean, my Facebook, and there's no subtitles.
Yeah, it's on mine on your Facebook too, but it's not on my screen. So maybe it's just our individual device.
Yeah, she might have subtitle settings on.
I just wanted to make sure because we don't want our special guest having words all over his face.
Yeah, no kidding.
Awesome.
Paul,
subtitles.
Someone just Chrissy just chimed in. It's not covering on hers, so
okay.
I think it might be her settings. But Paul, I think there's more exposure now. The really interesting thing happened right after that show, and right after Michael got sick, and while he was still in the hospital and stuff. I was out to dinner with a pastor friend of mine, and we're waiting for our table, and this chick with blue hair is waiting for her table, and we just get to talking with her, and we just share with her about our ministry and things like that. And I was wearing my Bloodgood shirt, and then she wanted me to meet her father, who she was meeting for dinner. So we ate, and then we're getting ready to leave, and I walked over. I said, "Hey, just wanted to say hi," and gave him our ministry information. He looked at my shirt, and he goes, "Bloodgood." He goes, "How's Michael doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, we're praying for him, and the whole thing." But yeah, there's a random guy in a restaurant that identified it just from my shirt. So more people know. I mean, you guys are not obscure, maybe like you were early 90s to the secular world, but that was a pretty cool story, that instant recognition.
That is really neat. Yeah, there's been a couple of things. I think the weirdest ones are the like the Chris Jericho effect, I call it. That he was a Bloodgood fan, and Chris has been amazing to me. I mean, truly amazing. Like, it was a really difficult time period when Michael's funeral took place, and I had just so much going on. I'm like, I don't know if I can make it, you guys. I don't know if I can. And I apologize, Marilyn. I apologize to you guys and the boys and everything. It's just, I don't know how to put this together. And so, I didn't feel like it was the right thing, but it was kind of what I had access to at the time. And so I came to peace with it. And then Chris texts me and he goes, dude, you're going to the funeral. You have 2 tickets waiting for you.
Wow.
He paid for Faith and I to go to the funeral, just like out of the blue. And
wow.
So just, cool. I just said, I have to go, we sat together. And then Brian Head Welch from Korn was another Bloodgood, fan or person that knew of us and all that, and got connected with Les. And I just went to see Korn with my oldest son and my second oldest. So we went there and went and talked to Brian and saw the show, and then Howard Jones from Kill Switch Engaged and all this. I didn't know that these guys were kind of in the early 90s, even knew about it, but they were exposed to Christian music. And so it's really neat to see that kind of come out of the woodwork a little bit. But, Chris has been amazing,
He's a wrestler, right?
Yeah. He's one of the I would say most renowned, of his era. And I saw him take a chair to the back. It was really sad to see, but he recovered. But no, he was wonderful. As a matter of fact, he's really helped out. He's been in touch and keeping in touch with the progress of Trevor, who's our youngest, that got, I don't know if you guys had heard, but in the motorcycle accident, and basically pronounced dead on the scene. And
oh wow,
he had the worst traumatic brain injury that the hospital had ever seen, and he's made a miraculous recovery. I mean, we prayed so hard. Actually, we thought the news that we got was when he was in an accident, he passed away. And so that was just gut wrenching and all that. But they actually, the officer on the scene, they were going to put a sheet over his face and just say, that's it. There's no way this guy can survive, because he hit and went 115 feet in the air, flying end over end, and landed on the curb. And but there was the one part in your brain stem that controls your breathing to keep you alive was the only thing that didn't get damaged. Wow. So, I mean, this is crazy. No broken neck, no broken spine, just the part of your brain that you need to survive. And, but even after being in there, being in a coma, the neurologist said, I hate to break you guys with bad news. Non-Christian lady said, he'll be lucky if he can eat on his own or dress himself. You guys are going to probably have to put him in a home, but we prayed the whole time, just saying, Lord, whatever it is, we'll take it. We love it. He's alive. I mean, come on, that's the biggest thing. He's alive, and whatever you give us is going to be what we accept, and we gladly accept it, and we're grateful.
Now, you remember you were going to do guitar on our album that we just released
yes,
last October, but I told you, dude, take care of your family. So John, my drummer, and I, we were praying for you and your whole family. So
thank you. It's been, I don't know if we're short on time, but
no, not at all. Take your time.
Trevor, Can you come downstairs?
Awesome.
We get to see a miracle person.
Yeah.
You rascal. It's an interview about me and Bloodgood, and you, but I just tell the story, and I want them to see what a superstar looks like.
This is cool.
Yeah.
All right, guys, you want to see true talent?
Yes, absolutely.
Sorry, there's stuff all over.
Hi.
How you
Hey,
doing?
man. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you.
So Bryan was just saying how he prayed for you, and I'm sure Paul is involved too. Have a seat real quick, buddy.
Yeah, have a seat so we can see you, man.
Beautiful face.
Hey.
Look at the guy.
How you doing?
Clearly he survived.
I'm good.
That's good.
Why did
So
you survive?
what have you been up to?
I've been just rehabbing.
Yep.
Yep. And then just working, just going on movies, going out with my friends.
His friends,
Okay.
yeah.
And
Then what's coming up soon?
my surgery.
Yeah. So his left arm took the brunt. If you saw it, have you ever seen like Terminator when they pull back the skin on
Yeah.
and it looks like, robotic?
Yep.
He
Yeah.
actually has both bones here, all these, and then his wrist, they all have plates of screws in them.
Okay.
But they were basically patched. Sorry, I can probably get in
I'm
here.
sorry.
Yeah, there you go. Good.
They were patching him together just because they're like, well, he's probably not going to live and probably not going to be able to talk or, anything. So let's just throw his arm together and get this kid in there and because they had to open him up and remove his spleen and all that. So they were just trying to do the best they could to patch him together. And he has been doing so well. Now we have to kind of revisit getting his arm a little bit more, cooperative.
Okay.
So it's Travis.
Make a
Travis,
fist
is that your name?
Trevor.
Trevor. I'm sorry. Okay. How old are you, man?
21. Just turned 21. Yeah.
21? All right. Man, I love these miracle stories. This is really amazing.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm Paul Jackson's manager.
He's my manager.
Well, then we need to sign. We have to talk to you then about him doing our 5th album for We Are Resolute then.
Should I do a new record?
Yep.
Okay.
All right,
already said
Bryan,
yeah,
your
so-
people call his people and get straightened out.
All the
all the records.
all the
guitars.
guitars that you're a beast.
Thanks, buddy.
No, I can't.
He's such a good support. He'll be in the other room and I'll be jamming in here, and he'll just be like, "What? That's so cool! You're a beast." Yeah, and he was at Immortal Fest. That was his first big trip after everything that went down and all that. And,
Okay. So this year you were at Immortal Fest, Trevor?
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I was planning on being there. I couldn't make it out this year, but next year for sure.
Yeah.
He's just like I said, he's probably, he's the biggest inspiration ever to continue to do. Just because the connection, he's gotten so much, he's brought us closer to God, which we felt we were pretty close, but it's been amazing. God's answered every prayer that we've had. We are so grateful. We refuse to be greedy. He's sitting here. He's alive.
I'm alive and well.
He's alive and well. But he's I'm so grateful.
Thanks.
All right, buddy. Get out of here.
All right.
Hey, thanks for getting on with us.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and thanks. Good night, because we can't top that.
Love you.
Love you too, Dad.
So yeah, that's the real stuff there.
Yep.
That's so cool.
You know?
Man.
Thanks for
So
doing that.
let's talk
Unscripted.
about a little bit. You know, you talked. Yeah, we're done here. We can't top it. Talk about your faith a little bit and how you get to, you know, how being on the road, being in the studio, doing what you do, how it coincides with it, and then how you get to express that through what you do and the people you meet and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. Bloodgood was great for me. And we'll go back a little bit, just because, you know, I've gone to church my whole life, and you know, it's weird because I've actually been baptized a couple times. You know, once I was 13, I was volunteering at a nursing home, and we got on a bus, and we all went to a church, and then they're like, "Hey, you know, raise your hand and come down to the front if you feel God speaking to you." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I feel it." And I go. So Bloodgood, you know, wasn't like my first introduction into Christianity, but it was Christianity boot camp. You know, it like I've said earlier, it wasn't just something that we were Christian dudes rocking out, you know, doing what you do. You know, we were constantly, it was just the road for 3 months would just be one long Bible study. And then, you know, there's a responsibility, and I'm sure you've seen it or been in it, you know, when people come to you and they say, "I'm dealing with this. What are your thoughts?" All of a sudden, oh my gosh, well, I'm not a pastor. But I did put myself in a spot where people will say, what do you think on this? And they see me as somewhat of a, I hate to say an authority, but just somebody who would have the exposure to be able to pass on good information. Right. So I see that opportunity is a lot of responsibility, you know? So every time somebody asks me a question, asks for advice, I give my experience, I give what I've read. But I also try to be a good director and say, you know what, I want to tell you this is what I felt. This is what I've seen. This is what God said, but go here. You know, first of all, it's so personal. Pray. Develop that relationship. Listen, because people tell me I don't hear God, and so I don't see God talking to me, and that's kind of an issue. And I'm like, I don't think you're listening. I don't think you're listening in the way that it's not as I want to say literal, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. You know, like if you say you want God to direct you, whether you should get this job or not, you have to pray about it, feel connected, meditate, and then look for the signs, because they're going to be there. They'll literally be there. You're going to get the call or you're not going to get the call. And you have to trust that that's your path, you know? And so Michael, less to a certain extent as well, can just literally go, in Ephesians, it is said, you know, which is great. My memory span or my memory skills are not as good. But so I would summarize and then just say, pray about it. And then really, I don't know if listen with your ears or just be aware of what's unfolding for you. Is this door opening? If it's opening, more than likely it's a good shot to go in it. Now, you could go to the door that you want to open and then you open it. That's not listening to God. That's not doing what I'm saying, you know, and that's kind of like where we were with Bloodgood. We felt like we were opening all the doors in the early 90s. You know, where do we go now? Well, we should do this. Hey, this would help us be more popular. This opportunity is there. But we really weren't going, you know, Lord, reveal this to us. Make an obvious sign. You know? So I don't know. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And I know what you're talking about when people, I pastor and I preach and I get to meet a lot of people. And so I get the same questions and it's the same thing. It's like we're indwelt by the Holy Spirit. So you have to learn to listen to the Holy Spirit that indwells us and there's so much noise and there's so much chaos going on and competing voices and distractions from that like you said, you're not listening, and that's what it really comes down to.
You feel like you are, but you're not. I mean,
yeah, we have to train ourselves to hear that still small voice.
But you've got to be in the Word every day too, though.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, that's the other thing. You know, what is God? God's not telling me what I want to hear. He's not giving me an answer. Well, what did he tell us to do? He told us to read and pray.
Yep.
Are you doing that? Well, no. Well, why is he going to give you anything else to do if you can't do the very basics?
Right. And it's really it's a life manual. I said that to my wife, and she thought that was really a kind of a funny way to look at it. But I mean, if you were going to like build an engine for a car, you would get the manual out, the schematics and all that, and you would study what you need to do and where you need to start and all that, and it's all there.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's one of the few things that we could look at. You can't look at the Bible and say we don't know what we're being asked to do. It's in there, all of it. And I mean, it's also one of those things that is really hard to perfect. Because I ebb and flow from when I feel invincible to when I feel extremely vulnerable and out of touch. And it's probably not the best thing to admit, but it's the truth. I mean, I have some days where I've got attitude all day, and I'm a bad example. And then some days I am hopefully a good example. Hopefully I'm pleasing to God and doing the right things. But there are some days where I'm literally just a flesh and bone mess,
I'm out Pauled here. There's two Pauls, and I'm going to say something about the Paul in the Bible. So there's 3 Pauls against 1 Bryan.
I'm sorry, Bryan.
Paul even talked about that which I want to do, I don't do, and that which I don't want to do is what I do. Oh, what a wretched man I am. And I wrote a song called Wretched Man. It's actually a pretty cool song. I listen to it often because it just hits home of what you were saying. And what were you going to say, Paul Ahnert?
Yeah, well, for us, being real, we struggle. Yeah. We have good days, we have bad days.
Yep.
Why would we pretend we don't? What does that do for the guy who's struggling?
Makes us look like a hypocrite.
Well, they think we got it all together. These guys all have it together. What's wrong with me? We're all a mess some way or another.
Great way to look at it, because if we pretend that we've got it figured out, then people are like, well, I can't do that, so this is not for me.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's almost kind of a relief to know that we all struggle, and I guess I go back to the original question, I feel like, and I've said this I've said a lot, is when I play is still, I'll get the younger people that are coming in going, what do I need to do what you're doing, or to get into the industry and do all these things and all that? And I'm just like, gosh, I really didn't do anything. I mean, I really didn't. God provided an opportunity. I listened. I towed the line and did my thing. And, one of the saddest things is when people rely on, if I get to this, I'll be happy. If I'm this person, I'll be happy. If I achieve this, I'll be happy. And it's not true. If you're not happy, if you don't have a relationship, you're not going to be happy if you win the lottery. You're the same unhappy person with $20 million.
Yep.
You're the same unhappy person with a record deal. You're the same unhappy person playing in this big concert or whatever the thing is. So I always just tell people, I go, be happy doing what you're doing. Be happy with who you are, be happy with your relationship, and anything you do beyond that, you'll be that happy person with this achievement. It's as simple as it gets,
Yeah, it's finding fulfillment in Christ.
Right. I mean, you're not going to be happier with the new car. You're just not.
A couple days you will, but after that, it'll wear off.
So what kind of car, though? I'm just kidding. I'm talking a Lamborghini, because maybe you are.
I'd be happy for a few months with a new Lamborghini for sure.
Okay, so there's exceptions, Paul.
Yeah.
But it is true. It's like if you strive for something but aren't growing along the way, when you reach it, it's pretty. I mean, it's true. Even I hate to say it, as little as a guitar, but I'll like fall in love with it. Man, I want this guitar. This guitar's the thing. But then I have it, I play it, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, that's a cool one. I like that one too. You know, there's something about like just achieving something, you know, that is so like such a carrot, you know, to chase. But it's certainly, once you get it, you go right back to the same person you were.
What kind of guitars do you play?
I've been playing so many different kinds lately.
Do you play Jackson guitars?
It's the only guitar I don't own is a Jackson.
Really?
Oh, yeah. My wife's telling me you got to get a Jackson just for the fact, you know. Most of these dates we've been doing are like fly in, fly outs, and and Craig just started doing this too. We're doing mostly headless guitars that seem to do well with travel. I remember that show I was telling you guys in the first one I did with the band at Cornerstone in Chicago. I had these awesome guitars, really expensive ESP guitars, and oh, that's a beauty.
Eddie Van Halen.
I've got an EVH. It's a little different body shape.
Okay.
Beautiful. I love that.
I love the kill switch. I never had one before.
That's pretty cool.
So now I've got the where, and I feel like Eddie.
I love it. Well,
not even close, but
yep. But yeah, so we started going to these short scale ones. Like I just got I have my Steinberger, and then Kiesel, and then there's Craig just bought a Strandberg. Does that make sense? Let's just put it this way. If I was to record, I would record with different guitars, but I would always tour with a Steinberger or something short scale so I can put it in the overhead bin of an airplane, shoot, do the gig. I mean, we have figured out this tour thing with doing layout days, because I have this is basically
City, right?
Huh?
You're going to be heading to Mexico City soon, right?
I think that's just an acoustic thing that Les is doing with Joyce.
Okay. Ah, gotcha.
But like,
that's what he needs to get.
This is a little setup. So if they just provide an amplifier, we're in and out of there, you know, with these little guitars and little setups.
Yeah.
That's a work smarter, not harder. And then this is a fun guitar that my wife bought and then customized it. It's my Speed Racer guitar.
I was just going to say that looks exactly like Speed Racer.
You can see the, look, it's a little rubber tire.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And then it's got the Mach 5.
I've heard Kramer.
Yeah, Kramer. This is kind of their copy of the initial Eddie Van Halen one. So it's funny.
Okay.
You brought out your EVH, you know.
I also just brought out this Jackson that you need to get.
I got to get one of those. So
this
the
one
thing
has a special sticker on it.
Oh, I've heard of those. You got to send me one, and I'll put it on something of mine too.
Hey, shoot me your address.
Okay. And then, but yeah, to be honest, my favorite guitars, the ones I play, are Ernie Balls. They're the Steve Lukather models. I just love them. Ooh, is that for me?
I can send you one of these.
I'd love it.
Wow.
This is on our drum set. I have actually, I can't pick up the computer thing, but I have a Yamaha 6-piece.
Yeah.
And it worked out being about the same color as this. So
that would be cool. I got a guitar.
On your Lamborghini.
Yeah, you can put this on your Lamborghini.
Let's do it.
Give me your address and I'll send you one of these, and I'll send you, if I can find a little sticker.
That would be great. I would love that.
That'd be cool
for you guys.
So what do you got coming up next?
So Les is doing the Mexico date with Joyce, and then I think March is Sweden. I don't remember the name of the festival, but it's another festival type gig. And then probably I would like to play another local show. The one that we did with Michael last at the Federal Way Performing Arts Center was the first show we've done here since Rock Theater. So it was a huge gap. But and then we did do a couple shows with Stryper last year. And that's
they have a thing up here in the summertime called Worship on the Waterfront. It's Beechwood Reformed Church. And I just saw Petra there this summer. They could get you guys there.
That'd be great.
That'd be awesome.
I really love to play, and I appreciate it so much more than I ever did before. I take it all in. I don't know if you guys noticed at the shows that we've seen each other at, but man, it's great. I love seeing people, and I see a lot of the same people at some of the shows, and it's great. I mean, I used to just play a show. When's the next show? Go to the show, play the show. And then now I just literally breathe it in, and Trevor goes to the shows. And it's so good to see him in the front row, and then, just enjoying the music and getting into the spirit. And it's great.
You look different than you did on the 2 DVD disc thing, because you had that spiked hair in the front, and then you had the mullet.
Party in what's it? Business in the front, party in the back.
Yep.
Yeah, those days are over. But I love the opportunity, and Les calls, and he's like, can we do this? And there's been a couple shows where I've not been able to make it, and Craig covers it fine. He does a great job, and but I do appreciate I appreciate this interview. I appreciate the shows. Have a totally different appreciation. I feel very blessed that you guys invited me on, and I've really enjoyed talking to you guys.
Yeah, this has been fun.
Yeah, we're really excited. It was kind of short notice for you, and you came on, and that was awesome. So yeah, man, kudos.
Well, thanks for accommodating my time zone.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, let's do it this time. And I'm like, oh no, is this Eastern? Oh shoot.
Well, this works better for us as well.
Too.
Yeah, I think this actually works better for us in the long run.
Yep.
We were just having trouble trying to get a set time and date because we have conflicting schedules. I work days, nights, and so trying to find a time where it works for both of us has been challenging sometimes.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, you guys are wonderful. And I'm so glad to know you. Really proud of you guys putting the effort that you're doing with this. And again, I'm just very humbled and very pleased to be here with you guys. And God's blessings on your lives, and keep the faith.
Yeah.
Hey, this is episode 10. We didn't make a big deal out of that.
Yeah, it is our 10th episode.
This is episode number 10 for us.
Oh wow, cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, that's a big deal.
Yep. It's starting to get a little bit of attention too, because we're getting 600, 700 views on the first and second day.
Yeah, it's been finally starting to pick up.
And some people from Uganda.
Yeah, we're getting international viewership. Yeah, it's been really cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yep.
Uganda, what's up? Okay.
Hey, Uganda.
Yeah.
Well, you want to close us out, Paul Ahnert?
Yeah, I just want to thank our special guest, Paul Jackson. If you get a chance to catch him out there with Les Carlson and Joyce Carlson, do not miss it. It will be an experience you'll never forget. Bryan will be on again next Sunday night with Randy Rose of Mad at the World. And so God bless everybody. And thanks again, Paul, for joining us.
Yes, thank you very much. This has been a blast.
You guys. Yeah, love you. We'll see you soon.
All right.
Keep in contact.
Yes,
I will.
Sure.
I'll send you that info. I want that sticker.
All right.
All right, guys. Cool. Take care.
All right.
See ya.
God bless.